Crystal and Verse here. Today I'm going to go over the books I got from the library this September, and there's one that I purchased. Um, it's it's going to be a relatively quick video, I think. I have been reading frantically this month, but like not any new stuff. I randomly like went to the library and was feeling like moderately nostalgic, and I just kind of grabbed a bunch of books that I read like in middle school and like early high school. And I've just been kind of like, I got way more than I really should have. It's just too many. So I've been like rushing trying to get through those, but I really only got like read 2 new books this month, which is like weird for me. But I'll show you what they are and get into them. So first up is The Dark Fantastic, Racing the Imagination from Harry Potter to the Hunger Games, by Ebony Elizabeth Thomas. I'm not really on Twitter. I'm probably going to have to make a Twitter because I want to share memes, and I can't do that on Goodreads or YouTube. So I'm going to have to make a Twitter account. But I followed Ebony Elizabeth Thomas on Twitter, kind of read her stuff, and like her threads, and I saw her announce like the concept for this book and sort of like hyping it up before it was released, and I was really excited for it. Basically using an academic / theoretical framework to look at how we imagine things, how we read fantasy, and sort of how that affects like perceptions of Black people in the US, and also just like the role of Black people in like fantasy stories. So I'm going to go through the chapters to kind of give you an idea of like how it's laid out. So kind of start out like introducing the theoretical frameworks that Thomas is going to use, and the Dark Fantastic, which is sort of, I think it's Thomas's original concept. And then there's basically case studies. So the first one is looking at Rue in Hunger Games, then Gwen in BBC's Merlin, Bonnie Bennett in the series The Vampire Diaries, and then the final chapter is looking at Hermione Granger from Harry Potter, because there are like many interpretations of Hermione Granger being Black, and this chapter is kind of looking at like fan fiction, and sort of like alternative universes, like multiverses and things like that. So I'm like really excited to read this. This is a topic that's like very interesting to me. I actually am not in a whole lot of like organized fandoms. Like there are franchises that kind of get me misty-eyed that like if I have friends who also like it, I'll like talk about it with them and like be like, oh, what'd you think, but like I don't really like join like online groups or anything like that and like talk about it. Like it's happened like once or twice where I've been like, oh, wouldn't it be nice to like meet new people who also like this thing, and then I join the group and I'm like, this just isn't for me. Like I don't feel the need to stay here, and then I like leave after like a day or two. So yeah, is what it is, I guess. So that's The Dark Fantastic by Ebony Elizabeth Thomas. Next up is Crown of Thunder by Tochi Onyebuchi. This is the second in a series. The first one is Beasts Made of Night. This is a fantasy series, YA, about a boy who lives in a world where there are these things called Sin Eaters. The city is lived in as Cold Coast, and excuse me, and basically people's sins can kind of be brought out of them by these Sin Eaters' magic, and they turn into these animals, and the shape and ferocity of the animals is sort of determined by like the magnitude and the nature of the sin that's being exorcised. And this takes a big price on the Sin Eaters. They could be killed by the animal that they've exorcised. Even if they like survive, they get a tattoo on their skin of the animal that they exorcised, and they sort of assume the guilt of the sin. And so like the mental stress and the physical stress of this position like kills many of them prematurely. And they're also just generally like not cared for or treated well in the society. So that doesn't help. And the main character of the series is a boy named Taj, and he sort of had to leave Coast after the events of the first book. And now in this book, he's sort of on the run. He's in like a new land, and he sort of sees. I haven't read it yet, but from the dust jacket, it seems like he's in this new land where like there are also sin eaters, but their magic is used and treated very differently. So he's kind of trying to like hide his past, like look into these new ways of being. But like obviously the past is gonna catch up with him, and like things gotta give. So at this book, I read the first one like I said, and I wasn't I thought it was okay. Like I really like the fantasy imagery, but like there wasn't any character that I felt like really like strongly about. And the plot was like kind of predictable to me. Like I called like the big twist at the end, kind of early on. But it was like enjoyable enough that like I'm gonna read the sequel. I kind of picked up just because it was convenient. My library had. I was like, might as well. And last one is Midnight Robber by Nella Hopkinson. I read this before, but my friend runs a page in a business, Sister Sci-Fi, where she sells books, and she also hosts like book clubs about them. And this was the book for this month, and I just thought it would be easier to like have a physical copy than trying to order one from the library, hoping it gets there in time, dealing with all that hassle. So Midnight Robber is about a young girl named Tantan. She lives on a planet in sort of like the future. It's like a sci-fi book, and her father commits a pretty heinous crime and is sent into exile, and he kind of tricks her into going into exile with him. And on this exile world, there's basically not very many people. It's really only the other exiles, and there's like a bunch of like alien species around, and the book is kind of about her coming to grips with her family life, coming like growing up, becoming a woman, kind of changing her identity. And like the title comes from this character that she really likes from like a popular parade, Midnight Robber, and he gives like a big speech and like at this festival, and she loves dressing up as this character, and she sort of like assumes that as like an Elias later in the book. So yeah, that's Midnight Robber. I also got a cute little bookmark with it from Sister Sci-Fi, so I enjoyed that. So yeah, that's all the books for this month. In terms of like questions for you or things to discuss, like are you in any like online fan communities? Are there like fan fictions that you really like or that you've written and you're really proud of? Are there any, I guess because I'm talking about being nostalgic and rereading, is there any like books that you like find yourself coming back to over and over again? Anything you like to reread? As always, if you have recommendations for me, I would welcome them. Comment below. If you like the video, please like. If you'd like to keep up with me, please subscribe. Thank you. Bye.